Hello everyone, this is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to take a close look on the quarterly report for the Johnson & Johnson. It released first quarter earnings on the 16th of April, and from there on, the stock has seen increased action. But of late, it seems to be again going into a downward spiral. It has been bearish for a while, and even after the stellar earnings, particularly the net income figures, we haven't really seen any change of circumstances, any change in the trajectory of the stock price. There was spurt, and the spurt is now fading. So we have to see what's happening, and then accordingly we can trade and invest in the stock of the Johnson & Johnson. First thing first, we will consider its fundamentals, and afterwards we will also see how its stock price has reacted and evolved over last few sessions, last few weeks, and last few months, depending on your time horizon. We can consider different opportunities arising in different time frames. There is the release, and if you want to access this full report, you can access it on the investor relations page of the Johnson & Johnson. It's a publicly available document. I won't be able to take you through the full of it, but we will take a close look on the key highlights and then try to make sense of these full developments. For the first quarter, the earnings are on the higher side. The top line as well as bottom line have recorded growth, and particularly in the bottom line, there has been tremendous growth because the base effect was quite different. The last year, first quarter of last year, was a loss-making quarter, and now the first quarter of this year has been a remarkable quarter for Johnson & Johnson, which has made more than $5 billion of net profit. But if you take a look on the net revenues, total revenues, that haven't changed much. Its total revenues have grown, but only by low single digits at 2.3 percentage point. For comparative analysis, we will do this comparison using the consolidated statement of income, and afterwards we will also take a look on the projections for the remaining part of this year. The company has also revised its earnings projection on the higher side, just slightly so, but any revision on the higher side is, of course, considered a good news for the investors. For the first quarter, the revenues are now at $21.38 billion from $20.89 billion a year back. That amounts to the increase of 2.3 percentage point. The gross profit hasn't changed much. It is higher by 4.7%. But then, if you start to adjust for other items, you get these earnings before taxes of $6.44 billion this time around, whereas there was loss of $1.28 billion a year back, and that is a remarkable turnaround because last time around there were other expenses of almost $7 billion, so that has taken away all the profit and put the company in red. But now the company has been on a revival course, and it has made this profit of more than $5.35 billion. The EPS is at $2.2, whereas last time around it was in loss. There was loss of 0.19 US dollar per share. Going to its forward guidance. Earlier in January 2024 quarterly release, the Johnson & Johnson had stated that its operational sales are likely to rise by 5 to 6 percentage points with midpoint expected sales at 5.5% growth. But now the company has revised its earnings forecast for the operational sales and expecting the operational sales to be in the ballpark of growth of 5.5% to 6% with midpoint growth expected at 5.8%. The operational sales for the full year are likely to grow in this same range, with it likely to get quite close to $90 billion mark. Coming to the EPS expectations are of $10.6 to $10.75 for the full year, with the midpoint now being revised to $10.68 from $10.65 a quarter back. The takeaway from this is that company has grown more optimistic, more confident in its projections released a quarter back, and now this time around it has revised those numbers on the higher side. The revision is of not big magnitude, but any revision on the higher side is going to be received warmly by the investors. And in these circumstances where its profit has been continuously falling, I think the company is trying to shore up the investors' confidence. But whether it is likely to succeed or not, that is a full different story, and it is going to take some time for it to emerge on that count. We head to the JForex 4, the trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. We will consider the price action in the Johnson & Johnson on all the three different time frames, and on all these three different time frames, short term, medium term, as well as the long term, we will see if there are emerging opportunities for us to trade and invest. The short term price trajectory is with us, with each candle period defined at hourly. In the recently released earnings, we saw sharp move on the lower side, but it found some support, and after consolidating for 2 to 3 trading sessions, it started to rise sharply and went up till $50, but that proved short-lived, and here we are looking at the decline in the Johnson & Johnson again, because if you go back in time and see the trajectory of the Johnson & Johnson, it has been bearish for a while now, particularly after this consolidation close to 160. It has been making these lower lows and lower highs, and as a result of that, I feel that the underlying bearish sentiments haven't changed much, not yet, and we will do well. Keep that in mind and trade accordingly. So if your time horizon is for just a couple of days, then the sentiments are clearly inclined to the downside, and the stock seems to be in the bear grip. But then you also have to keep the factors like risk ratio in mind, and that is something which we will have to worry about at the current juncture, because there has been this move already, and it's now closer to its lower range. So even if you were to simply play for the consolidation range using these bearish sentiments, I think it is better for you to target it for short selling closer to its recent swing high. If there is no big move on the higher side, and if you find it consolidating closer to 150 range, below that range over next few trading sessions, you can indeed try to initiate the next short sell trade with the expectation of it again dipping towards 143 or even below that. Right now, as it is fairly close to its recent swing low, I think you can profit only in one eventuality, that it continues to decline. But if it goes into consolidation phase, or if it reverse course and starts to rise, then in 60 6% possibility you will winning money, rather you will be suffering loss. So as to turn tide, I think we will have to go with the trade on a sell on rally approach, and for that you might have to wait for a while, wait for a couple of days, and then as a better opportunities emerge, you can definitely take a shot. On the medium term, the price formation is not really much different. It is also bearish. The only thing is that it is now fairly close to its recent swing low, and in that kind of circumstances, it's bit better. It's a bit difficult to go and initiate a new short sell trade because at the current juncture, you can't really be much confident of a sharp decline because there has already been a decline, and if it can decline again, then well and good, you are going to profit. But if it doesn't and simply keeps in a narrow range consolidating, then that's going to be a loss-making trade. And I feel that instead of going for any short sell trade, it is going to be a better call to simply sit on the sidelines and maybe after due consolidation, and if it doesn't really rise much over next few weeks and trades below its prior swing high of 162, 163, then we are going to get a good opportunity, and the risk reward ratio is also going to be favorable, not contrarian, but I think if it consolidates and doesn't really decline much from the current levels, then even consolidation phase of a long side can be taken, but that is also going to require some time. So all in all, it is better for us to allow it to consolidate and more clarity to emerge. We now change the candlestick time frame to weekly to get a sense of what's happening in the longer time frame. And in the longer time frame, over last few years, it has been trading in a bearish manner, but in a very narrow range. The price moves have been within 20 percentage point over last 2 years. That means it has been a slow moving stock, and I don't really see any reason for it to change course anytime soon. It is now sitting close to its recent swing low and makes our job a bit difficult. I would say not only a bit difficult, but a lot of difficulty because we can't really go long, neither we can go short, and maybe the only thing we can do is wait for a couple of months here at the current juncture because it has already declined substantially over last few weeks, and it is going to be a difficult call to short it at the current levels. Maybe if it goes into some retracement and then its retracement is contained below its recent swing high. After due consolidation, we can adopt a sell on rally approach and expect it to decline again with the possibility of next decline going to extend much below 143. So that possibility can be exploited, but for that we'll have to be patient, and over next few months we will have to keep a close watch on the stock price formation of Johnson and Johnson, and then depending on your time horizon you can initiate the trade. So all in all, on all the three different time frames of short term, medium term and long term, the price formation is deeply bearish, but the opportunities are going to take some time to arise because we also have to keep multiple things like risk reward ratio and optimum entry points in mind, and that doesn't really seem to be the case at the current juncture. So that's all from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. If you have found the session informative and useful for your trading purposes, do subscribe to the channel and also leave us feedback. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.